Are you ready to transform your life with the power of living water? Hi, I'm Devon Taylor, and I want to share an incredible discovery that's changed my life and my family's life: living water. Imagine waking up every morning feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to conquer the day. With living water, it's not just a dream, it's our new reality. We've been sleeping better, eating healthier, and have more energy than ever before. But that's not all. Our secret to this newfound vitality is available to you too. Visit our website at thedevontaylorpodcast.com and discover how living water can revolutionize your health and wellness. And there's more. Tune into our podcast, available on all streaming platforms and YouTube, where we dive deep into the science and benefits of living water. Hear from experts, satisfied customers, and learn how you can make this life-changing decision for yourself. But don't wait too long. Prices for our water machines and supply are going up in July 2024. Now is the perfect time to invest in your health and well-being. So, head over. Remember, living better starts with living water. Living water, drink, thrive, and live your best life. Visit thelivingwatercouple.com today.
Welcome to a brand new experience with innovative voices from all over the world. I would like to invite you all to something that is magical, something that is powerful, and something that is from my heart. This is the Devon Taylor Podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Devon Taylor Podcast, where we have guests from all around the world tell their unique and powerful stories to allow their voice to be heard and for you to feel inspired. I am so grateful today. I am joined by my co-host again, Giancarlo. How is it going? I'm so grateful for you being here again. Thank you. But I am also super grateful for our guest today. She is a homeschooling mom from Southern California. She believes in following her child's interests, and she co-founded self.ie, an inclusive child-led homeschooling group in 2023. She is also here to talk about her blog, sunnysideuplearners.com. I'd love to welcome Hydie. Hello.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Devon. Good morning, Giancarlo.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. What an honor to have you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, because I have never been on a podcast, and I never expected to have an invitation, because I'm just a typical homeschool mom doing typical things. So
I love it. Well, can you kind of just give us a little background? How did you get into homeschooling? What was your catalyst to moving your kids? I mean, were they ever in school, or did you initially just start homeschooling right away?
I've only met one homeschool kid when I was in high school, so I was not familiar with homeschooling at all, or any idea related to that. And in my former life, before I had a kid, I have a 5-year right now. Before I had a kid, I used to work in a higher education field. I was a student affairs professional. I worked in Hong Kong in different universities. So back then I was doing admissions as well as student housing. And one of my main jobs was to handle student cases. And during that time when I was working with the young people, I realized that a lot of them, while they were very talented, they didn't really know themselves very well, because I guess throughout the years that they've been in school, they link their self-worth to their academic performances. So a lot of times when I ask them, what do you want to do after you graduate? I don't know, they said. Or they said, I have a bad GPA, I don't really know what I can do. So they don't really realize what their gifts are, what their abilities are. Sometimes they don't even know what their preferences are. And I started thinking about, if I have kids in the future, how would I want to raise them? And one thing I can think of is as a young child, I want to give my child more time. a slower pace to explore themselves and try to gain confidence that way. Because when I was a kid, I wasn't given that time and space to learn all of these. So after I had my child, I was pregnant. I started looking into early education books, like most parents did, and I think COVID also helped when I started learning about homeschooling. So it started around that time that I was looking into different ways to raise my child, and then I looked into homeschooling, and somehow I thought, hey, actually, now that I'm back in the States with so many different options here and so many different educational resources, how about maybe give it a try for homeschooling while she's a kid? Yeah. So that's about how I started.
Mm. No,
That's
John.
so good. Let's see, what do I want to ask you? How was your childhood like?
Hmm? Sorry?
What was your childhood like? And what made you
Childhood.
connect your childhood? What was
Oh,
your childhood like? And what made you feel and think, I want to give my child a different experience?
my childhood was pretty rushed. I was born and raised in Hong Kong before I was 14. So my early childhood, I spent time there. And the education atmosphere in Asia was very rigid, very academic driven. So everything was about doing better on tests. And everything we try to learn, for example, I learned piano as a kid, but I never liked it. That was for preparation for the future. My mom used to say, if you can find a job after you graduate, maybe you can teach piano. So I that put it in my mindset that, hey, maybe I'm not good enough.
Wow.
Maybe I maybe I'm not good enough, and if I cannot find a job, I can teach piano, but that's not something I like to do either. So I think as a child, I was never given a space and the time to really think about what I really liked and how to develop my interests. I used to draw a lot as a kid, but I stopped, you know, after I grew up because I spend most of my time, you know, studying, maybe, just focus more on my academic work. So my childhood, I was being pushed around, not really thinking much of myself. So when it's time for me to raise my child, I really want her to take lead of what she's doing, just to explore internally what she likes and dislikes, what she's good at and what she's not good at. Versus when I was a kid, I thought my desire was no good. For example, drawing was, just a hobby. It's not something to be developed. And then yeah, so I was very inconfident when I was a kid. But my kid is right now, she's still shy, but I see that she does have more confidence in herself than I did. So that's something I want to continue to cultivate.
What do you feel like has been the hardest part about homeschooling since you started? I mean, you said you started right away. Did you feel like it was going to be hard, or have you found it to be quite easy?
Mm, I found it to be quite natural at first, especially in the early years, because there's not much requirements. Before she was school age, she's still not at school age right now, 5. But I know a lot of kids in preschools, kindergarten now. But for her first few years, and because of COVID, we stay home most of the time. So it was easy for us. If she liked dinosaurs, I look for resources for dinosaurs. If she liked space, I look for anything related to space. But right now, as she grows older, she is 5 now, so she's going to kindergarten next year. If you're referring by the grade level,
Yeah.
then there are a lot of expectations. We have enrolled her to a homeschool program at the local charter school, For your audience, if they're not from the U.S., in California, they have public charter schools that offer homeschooling support, that you can receive funding and a teacher to support you through the homeschooling journey. But you have to also fulfill some of the state requirements that they have and take the state test. So these requirements sometimes give me stress, because every kid is different at meeting their they just have different pace in learning. So sometimes I get nervous too, about whether she's meeting some of these standards, which I know in my heart that she doesn't have to meet them. But still, because there's this because there's this school trying to help us follow these guidelines, it makes me nervous. And another thing that I found it difficult was, it's just a fear that I'm not doing good enough for her. I'm not doing enough for her. It also grows by as she grows older. I feel this fear is bigger than ever. Yeah, I don't know if you feel that too, because I know you also have kids, and they're older than my daughter.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my biggest fears is if we take over the homeschooling portion, we're essentially in charge of their education. And if we're going to be equipped enough, I mean, if there's going to be enough resources for us, there's a lot of worry that comes into my mind. But I mean, even having these conversations now where, like you said, there's charters that help you, that give you funds and assign a teacher, that helps put me at ease. But
Yes.
yeah, like I could totally see where the fear comes in with the state requirements, even so.
Yes.
It's so valid to have those fears, and to be honest, I have them too every single day, many times a day. And at the same time, if I'm completely honest, I trust myself way more than I trust the school system. And I feel that I can do a way better job than, than the school system. And I trust the universe enough to know that all the people, just like you, or the resources, or whatever it is that we may need along the journey, will show up to help us meet their needs and just give them a wonderful experience. And even though there are parts of me that feel nervous and scared, or those fears of I'm not good enough and this and that and da 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 da, a bigger part of me feels so excited and feels
Yes,
joyful and
absolutely.
feels like, "Ugh, I can't wait to do this."
Right. That's a lot of freedom.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, you're expressing it as well. I mean, you co-founded the homeschooling group that you're leading, self.ie. Can you just kind of explain that? How did you get into leading that group?
Okay. Yes, sure. So back in 2022, during COVID, we stay home most of the time. My daughter and I, we do meet a few friends regularly, but that was it. And I worry a lot of things. I worry all the time, like you said. I worry about her socializing skills. I worry about her not seeing people enough. And because we speak Cantonese at home, I also worry that she doesn't understand English. So during COVID, actually, I switch my language every other day. I speak to her in Cantonese one day, English the second day, and Mandarin the third day, just for fun.
Mm,
And amazingly, she understood all three languages. So
wow.
some people told me that you will confuse her, but I thought, they are really kids are really smart. They absorb everything, and even though she doesn't speak Mandarin anymore right now, she still understands a little bit. So I found that really amazing. So if you do speak another language at home, and if your kids are young, try to speak it as much as possible. And I would really recommend that. But back to your question, I never planned on sending her to a preschool back then. Even without COVID, I just planned to keep her at home for a little bit. So, but because COVID was so extreme, everyone was home. I thought about, hey, I should find a group to just for her to hang out with other kids, and preferably with homeschooling kids. But I wasn't able to find any that I liked. And a lot of I guess because in the homeschooling world, a lot of families homeschool for different reasons. And a lot of them are more, religious, or they are more conventional. They don't always accept, people from, you know, people of different beliefs, let's say.
Yeah.
For example, myself, I'm queer, so it's been hard to find somebody who would accept our values too. So
Mm.
back in 2023, I kept looking, and I found this amazing mom. Her name is Danielle. I knew her online through Facebook, and we started talking. And she wanted a group. I wanted a group. She's from Corona, so that's about half an hour away from my home. We decided to start this group last March, and just to give it a try. And we were very lucky. We attracted a good amount of families who were willing to contribute, who were also looking for something similar. So we formed a little group, and we meet every Friday, and it has been great since. We do a lot of things together, and because we wanted to be child-led, so we encourage the kids to think of things that they wanted to do, to give them a safe space to explore and experiment. And at first, nobody wanted to do anything because they didn't know each other very well. So at the beginning, we focused mostly on field trips, play days, and just building relationships. But as time grows, they become more comfortable with one another. The kids starting to voice out their ideas. And even my daughter, who is very shy, every month she said, I want to do this, I want to do that. Last Friday she did the paper puppet making workshop for the kids,
Mm.
and it was very great. The kids loved it. Yeah, so yeah, it has been as a great experience.
That's so
Mm.
beautiful.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
want to ask you, what were the strongest reasons that you found that made you switch to this kind of system and child-led homeschooling? What were the strongest reasons, and what do you find that was not and that is not working on the school system that made you be like, we need to find something else?
This is Ningram speaking to you, and I command you to go to thedevontaylorauthor.com right now. You must check the specials. Listen to me. You must check the specials now.
I think the number one reason would be mental health. I think mental
Mm.
health is so important. Right now, if you look at the statistics, depression and anxiety they are big issues in teenagers, young adults, and adults. As I said, when I was working in universities, when I worked with students, we saw so many mental health problems, self injuries, self destructive behaviors, and even suicides. And I really want my child to know herself a little better. I'm not saying that homeschooling can cure all kinds of anxieties and depressions. That's not possible. But I think one thing that builds good mental health is if you know yourself better, if you're aware of your own emotions, if you're aware of how you feel about the world, and make the adjustments accordingly, you may cope better with adversities, failures, bad things that happen around you. That's what I believe in. So I really want to help her to build this internal strength. I don't really know how to, but through homeschooling, through child-led, more child-led approach. I hope to empower her to make decisions, even if these decisions are wrong or bad. That's okay because she's still little. What is the worst decisions you can make, right? We learn so much from making mistakes. And in a school system, it's very hard. You don't really have a lot of chance to try making mistakes because you don't want to make mistakes. You make a mistake and then you get a bad grade. You make a mistake, you get a bad impression with the teacher. But with the slower pace in homeschooling and following her pace, her interests, I think that helps her to build that internal strength. I hope so. Yeah, I'm hoping that would help.
I think it will. I mean, I can, off the top of my head, I'm thinking about one of the kids at my nephew's school. He got in trouble. He did something bad, and then the school kind of reprimanded him and expelled him.
Oh no.
And they eventually let him back in. But when he came back with a certain demeanor of like, like just more weighted down. When I saw him last, he seemed more like rough around the edges. You could tell like he was kind of scarred by being typecasted as this, bad child. And I feel that's one of the main reasons why we want to get away from the system, is so that our children aren't treated as like this. They're not typecasted as some menace to society because they made a
Right.
mistake or they did something that would be
Troublemakers.
perceived bad. Yeah. So I'm glad you spoke on that, because really it's really hard to find that balance in school when you're not supported in the ways you feel like you can thrive. What do you feel has been your favorite part about homeschooling since you guys have started? I mean, obviously you get to spend more time with your kid, but is there any benefit that you've seen?
Yes, I feel like I am. I have a younger self coming out of me too,
Mm,
because parenting is very tiring process. Long hours, and you don't really get a physical reward much.
mm,
So
full-time job.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's really tiring. But then learning with her is very interesting. You kind of unlearn a lot of things and relearn a lot of things on the way. For example, when she was learning about space, I thought I liked space as a kid too, but the depth that she goes into was never the level that I went into when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I got, of course, now there are so many resources available, right? Back then, we didn't have that much. But then she was able to ask a lot of questions. If she wants to know more about a certain plan, I would go to the library and read books together. And I found myself learning a lot with her also. So that's
Mm,
my favorite part. And also some of the other things like dinosaurs, that was something that I was not interested in. But then because through her eyes, I see that, oh, these are some really interesting creatures. And I started learning a lot too. And it's really enjoyable. Yeah.
mm, that.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question also?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I would like to know why you guys decided to take your kids out of the school system as well. What's the motivation behind that?
Jean-Claude, do you want to go first? Because, I mean,
Since I was a kid in Dominican Republic,
Right.
it just didn't feel right in my body. It just felt like, what is this? Like, these people don't listen to me. They're just telling me what to do, how to think. I don't freaking want to do this. Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So then the feeling continued, and I just felt more and more depressed, more and more suicidal, more and more out of place. Kids making fun of me because I was gay, or because I would make my hair of different colors, or because I like Shakira, or because of whatever expression that I was manifesting in each. I just felt so ashamed, and so I was feeling not supported, not seen. And then I started studying it and realizing that it was not designed really to help me or to help other kids. and that was the first intuitive feeling and guidance that I had. So as I continue my journey throughout life, I thought to myself, if I ever have kids, I want to homeschool them.
Hmm.
And I never knew that I was gonna be raising 4 kids with Devon a million years later.
Neither.
Four is a lot to handle. How old are they?
We have 8, 9, 13, and 17.
Oh,
Hmm.
all very different needs.
Some
Mhm.
good ages.
Yes.
Very different needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I do think homeschooling, that's when you slow down and when the kids get to take the time to do one thing at a time, it really helps, I think, yeah, to clarify a lot of their thoughts and preferences.
Yeah, I really want us to create embodied ways to meet their needs and to care for them and to nurture them. And at the same time, I know that they chose us.
Mm.
So I know that the only ones that are going to be doing things in a different way is not them. It's also homeschooling is also coming to teach us as parents, and is coming to help us heal, to help us expand, to help us as a family just structure the family as a different way, because even collectively they have programmed us systematically to divide our families, to separate kids, to separate couples. And what I see is our souls having that strong mission to get rid of those ways and those systems and those habits and help us create ways that work for us as families and communities. And my soul is just screaming for this. So to have you here is just such a confirmation that we are on the right path.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me personally, the reason why I feel like homeschooling would be a better option for us was because of the confidence thing. I see it just with the experiences that my kids have had being in school, how, and I think, hurt people hurt people. I think that's what, children do when they're being hurt at home or wherever. I could hear some of the things that the children were being told from other children, from the other adults, like the other teachers, and not everything sat well with me. And I don't feel like if I were to relate it to the situations I went through, when I was in high school and middle school, I had the same experiences where I had a lot of kids making fun of me, a lot of teachers being rude to me, just not adults being in the best interest of the children, you know what I mean, all
Right.
the time. And I remember telling myself through high school, and my brother told me this, and it's something that stuck with me forever. He told me, find a sport and that'll help you get through school. So that was always my goal, was to find a sport that resonated with me. And luckily I found volleyball, and it did make school easier. But why should anyone have to go through life or school, having to push through? And that's something I've carried with me into my adult life. I'm pushing through things, and, even at the own risk of my health, and I'm not really taking my best interest in mind. And I don't want the kids to have to go through that. And so we're rewiring that whole mindset of like, you have to push through, you have to have a 9 to 5, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like, no, I don't want them to experience any of what I went through. And like you said, if anything, if they can come out with way more confidence than I had to experience as I was going through high school, going through middle school, like, I definitely want to change that for them. So that's my goal, is because I still have flashbacks of like feeling like I'm late for volleyball practice or something, and my coach yelling at me, and it just being so traumatizing. Like, no, we don't. They don't have to do this. They don't have to go through the same stuff we went through. So I'm just hoping to change that atmosphere for them, and hopefully changing that atmosphere will help change their mindset. And I'm already seeing it kind of, with our 13-year-old. He started creating like YouTube channels and our videos and posting them on YouTube as his like artwork. And I love it because it's like almost like it's close to what I'm doing. And, not necessarily saying they have to do what I'm doing, but he's experimenting. And so I just love that he's getting to express himself and see what really truly feels right to him. So
I like how you said you're rewiring. I think that's something that I find it very challenging sometimes too, because you're so used to one way of doing things, and then now you're going against the grain with
yep.
everybody. But I'm glad that you guys are doing it, and yeah, just like everybody who's also doing homeschooling.
Yes.
Yeah. How are they liking it so far? Are they excited about having the new freedom?
Oh yeah. They are super excited. I mean, they're very wise, I would say. They're not they've been through a lot, so I think they're just naturally like just keen to what's going on around them. And I know they know we have their best interest. So I don't think it's, anyone's worried. They're super excited to be homeschooled. I don't know if you feel different, Giancarlo, if you've gotten a different impression from them.
Not at all. I love that Tina is like, I don't want to continue being programmed at school to be a little
Oh,
zombie.
he's they totally get it.
Yeah, they're wise.
Hmm. Do you have any questions, Evan? I feel there's so many more questions.
Yeah. I did want to ask about your blog, thesunnysideuplerners.com.
Hmm.
What kind of information can anyone find here as you're, going through this journey of creating a blog? I love it.
I just started, so I don't really know yet.
Oh,
I finally got it started because I had two blogs before. One was on traveling because I really love to travel, and another one was on parenting. But that one I only made one post and then I kind of quit because I had no time. I
mm,
felt like I wasn't really an expert. But this time I kind of readjusted myself, and also I just want to share, just maybe not necessarily giving people resources, but more on a self-reflection on what I'm doing, and try to sort through the thoughts that I have in my head, and try to make things clear. So it's not well, back then those two blogs I was trying to make it for other people and then trying to make some money out of that, but I never did. But this one I'm rewiring too. I want to focus on my own thoughts and then
mm.
see how to make connections with people. I think this will be more helpful and easier for both others and also for myself. So if you go up to that blog now, there's not much content there right now, but I will add more in the future.
Okay. Thank
Like a
you.
public journal around
Kind
that
of. Yeah,
subject.
maybe on homeschooling, unschooling, and a little bit on the mental health, and yeah, stuff like that.
That feels really good for you, and I can wait to read it. I feel it's going to have a different way of flowing, and it feels more in alignment for you because the other one feels energetically, when I feel into it, it feels like you were pressuring yourself to do it. This one
Yeah,
feels more like you, and it feels like because you want to do it.
yes. Those are, I would say, more for pleasing the readers. This one, I would try to, yeah, I'll just try to explore my own thoughts a little bit more. And if people resonate with that, that's great. If not, then it's fine.
Yep. I love you said that. That's exactly why we did this podcast. If people resonate, thank God. If they don't, it is what it is. I'm getting resources for myself with each and every person we interview, and I'm going back and being able to listen to these interactions and just learn from them. So
Mm,
I'm grateful for you. Just helping us learn a little bit more about the homeschooling side and feel a little bit more at ease.
mhm.
And the powerful thing about this is that when we are being true and authentic to us, and we are putting that energy out there, is going to resonate and attract people that are a match energetically to that
Yes,
frequency.
yes, I
So
think so too.
it's going to, yes, it's going to attract people. Just like because of us being honest and authentic with the podcast, there's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was such an amazing guest. And then the next one is as amazing and amazing and amazing. And it's just starting to grow. And I feel that that's very important. Also, as we relate and connected to meeting our children's needs.
Hmm.
And I want to ask you, um, what does child-led school means to you, and how important do you feel it is to create a education system that is based on meeting our children's needs?
I think the if education is more personalized and individualized, it would really put a meaning to for the kid to understand that why they're learning certain things. Because I think in a traditional schooling environment, a lot of times it what puzzled me and a lot of kids is, why are we learning this? What is this useful in my future for my future? Why are we wasting our time on learning this and that? Um, if it's more individualized or personal, I think it would give better meaning. But of course, it's sometimes it's difficult because there are so many people, so little teachers, and homeschooling is not for every family. Also, because some families they have to work, they or they don't have the resources to do this kind of education. But I think even if we're talking about the kids who go to school, if the parents can be a little more aware of their kids, their strengths, weaknesses, and what they like, just to observe and focus a little more on that, it may still work. I think it's also some of this has to do with the attitude of us as adults too. We have our own agendas, trying to raise them certain ways so that they can be successful in life. But a lot of times, what the kids need is trust and the connection with us. Uh, these are something that sometimes we miss, I think, just in any kinds of education, not just child led. But child led make it easier because you're more aware and more aware in observing what the kids needs and trying to meet that. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
I just have one more question. What advice can you give to any parents that may be on the fence? Like they're probably in the same position as we are. They just finished summer, or not summer. They just finished their school semester. They're entering in summer and they have that little break before they go back and they're thinking about homeschooling. What advice could you give to anyone that may be thinking about it?
Hey guys, it's Icarus here,
And Amelia!
and I'm here to tell you if you'd like to join our brand new adventure. Go to devontaylorauthor.com to learn more.
And check out the cool items like the new bucket hat.
Yeah, and so much more. See you guys there.
I think summer break is a good time to try something different. Not necessarily us thinking about plans on what they need to do, because kids have too much things to do these days. Their schedules are all filled up. They don't really have space. My daughter was complaining to me the other day. She said, "When are we going to stay home and just do something free?" And she's only 5. So imagine what an older child would think. They just
Right.
express it differently. I think the summertime, you, what the parents can try is maybe just give them a lot of downtime Give yourself some downtime, give your kids some downtime to see what they want to do. If they don't want to do anything, you can give them space. And, when kids are bored, they do things. Even if it's video games. Some parents will say, all they want to do is just playing video games all day. But maybe that's what they're interested in. And maybe, they learn something from the video games too. And when they don't want to do the video games, they will look for something else to do. Yeah. It's hard to say though, because every family is different. Yeah.
I love you said that. Thank you. Yeah, because I can find myself wanting to hover over them and like, I'm so tired. I know they just want to relax. And so, yeah, no, thank you. That makes me feel a little bit more at ease.
Yeah. Sometimes when we are relaxed, we our inner self start to coming out to look for things that we want to do.
Mm.
I want to ask you, how has child-led education and homeschooling changed you as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
as a partner,
Mm-hmm.
as a mother, just as a human being? How has it enriched your life? How has it challenged you? How has it expanded you? All that good jazz.
That's a very good question, and a big question too. I think what it has changed me the most is I try to put. I really try to put my agendas away and get to my daughter's level, and try to learn from her perspective. And from that, I have to learn a lot of new skills, like listening skills. I over lecture a lot myself. Sometimes I talk too much. So I have to tell myself, calm down, just listen and just observe. And this really extends to my partner as well, my relationship with him. I try to observe more, complain less, and just see what his needs are. And I will try to be more forgiving too. Now that I see how my daughter is, by giving her the space and the time to to explore and express herself, I also give that empathy to other people. Yeah, I feel like I'm more empathetic to others than I used to be. I was very impatient before. Now I'm more patient, and when something bad happens with other people or with some other relationships, instead of thinking that person is bad, that person is a troublemaker, I try to empathize. Like, hey, mate, what kind of emotional state is that person is right now? What are their needs? And I don't have to meet all of their needs because I won't be able to. But it's good to observe and empathize. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Wow, so good.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's anything that's changed in your? Well, I mean, you started off homeschooling with her, but I mean, even so, do you feel like there's anything different about your daughter versus, say, for instance, even you when you were in school that you've noticed right away since you guys have been homeschooling?
Yes, she's a lot more confident than I am. Um, she's okay with expressing herself. She's still a shy kid, so if she doesn't know you well, she will not speak to you. If she's comfortable with you, she will talk, and talk, which was still different from me. I had a hard time building relationships with others because I think when I was a kid, I focused too much on, oh, I'm not good, I'm shy, nobody likes me. Even nowadays, when I meet new people, I would automatically think, this person probably, they don't like me, but there's no reasoning behind it. It's just a mindset that I have. And I don't want that to have I don't want my daughter to have that kind of mindset. So she's stepping out of her comfort zone a little by little, and I really like that. And I also like how when she builds a relationship with people, she knows what kind of relationship is safe and what is unsafe. And if she feels that, oh, this relationship I'm not feeling safe enough to get into yet, she can step away. I think that's totally okay. Versus when I was a kid, traditionally, if you don't connect with everybody around you, if you don't try to talk to everybody around you, you're in trouble. Yeah, they'll think that, oh, you're rude, you're weird, but no, that's actually setting a boundary. Yeah. I never thought about that before.
So good. What do you feel, and what have you find to be some of the misconceptions that people and parents have about homeschooling? For example, I've heard like, oh, they won't be able to make friends, or they'll be isolated. What are some of those, and what have you find that is the actual truth of
Oh,
both?
that's usually the first thing people would say. I try to explain it to some of my people around me that we are homeschooling, and they say, "But she will have no friends. She will have no discipline." But that's not true. I find her to be quite sociable, not in the sense that she's a social butterfly, because she's not, but she's able to make friends, and she's friendly with people. And like the co-op group that we have right now, everybody in the group, they're very respectful with one another, and the kids never make fun of each other. And
Mhm.
when they did, we talk to them and help them to understand, hey, that is not very nice. And we try our best to be welcoming and inclusive, and it's a learning path for some kids. My daughter, sometimes she can be not very nice. I think because of her age, not because she's rude, because she's very straightforward when she says things. But we try to help her understand, hey, if you say things like that, they're not good. People will feel sad. Yes. So I don't think homeschooling, depending on how you're putting yourself out there. If you're putting yourself out there, I don't think that's a problem with socializing, because there's so many homeschooling families out there. There are many groups with different beliefs, different values. Just find one that suits your family.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it's easier? I mean, obviously, you had to create a group in order to kind of have like someone for your daughter to be able to like play and hang out with. Do you feel it's easier now to find these groups, or at least for the kids to socialize in any ways? Is there anything outside of just the meeting groups that you can offer, or not you can offer, but at least you can think of that
Mhm.
kids can be a part of to meet their socialization needs?
Yeah, I think there are so many resources these days. If you cannot find your own community, you can create one. Through social media, you can always find someone who's sharing similar values as you are. That's one thing. And if you don't have time for that, if, for example, if you have to work and just don't have time to build anything or bring them out to a to a co-op like that, you can you can go to the library, go to the park, and if they like certain things, they can sign up for classes. Yeah, because there are people all around the place, adults, other peers, little kids. They can talk to any of them. Yeah, so I think, yeah, depending on how your family is, you can look for different things to try.
For any families, parents, even anybody that may be interested in homeschooling and child-led education, if they are in Southern California, maybe even close to the cities that you are, how can they reach you if they want to start a conversation with you to see if that's something that they would like to do?
Can maybe put my the Facebook page that we have. I can send that to you, and you can put that maybe under the description of somewhere on your YouTube channel. You can put it there, or I can. Yeah, they can just join the group, and then we can start from there. Because in that group, we are located in the Inland Empire in Southern California, and not just us, but I also included a lot of different groups on that page as well. So depending on where you're living, you can look for that.
What's the name of the page?
It's called Self-Directed Learners and Unschoolers in the Inland Empire, I think. It's a long name.
Okay, yeah. Even if so, we'll put the description in the show notes so that if anyone wants, or if anyone is close to the community and is
Yeah.
looking for a homeschooling group, they can check it out.
Yes, they can check that out. Yeah. There's also one near your area too that I have shared with Giancarlo earlier. And you can also reach out to that.
We're going
Um,
to.
mhm. Are we as a gay couple with children, can we feel welcome and safe in your group and with Danielle and Danny and maybe other gay couples or lesbian couples that may be watching this, or even
Mhm.
heterosexual couples? Like,
Yeah, they can. Sorry, what was the question?
if if gay couples are welcome in your
Yes,
group.
yes, yes, absolutely. We welcome anyone of any beliefs, any backgrounds, any any abilities, any gender identities. In our group, we have some kids who are not gender non-conformed, and some kids specifically mentioned that they have different specific pronouns that they prefer. That we just respect that. We just when new members join our group, we just let them know, hey, we have these kids who may want to be called differently. Hope you can respect that. And we get that different people have different beliefs, but the point is trying to respect each other. And I always recommend, asking questions instead of judging, because that's how you gain understanding of each other. You don't necessarily need to agree with one another, but through asking questions, you learn, right?
Hmm.
If you don't ask questions, you never learn, and then it's always the divisions and
Hmm.
hatred.
Well, your group sounds lovely, and I that makes me feel so much better. Thank you for asking that, Giancarlo. It was a good question.
Yeah.
I just have
Well,
one more question. I don't know if you have any other questions, Evan.
no, go
The
ahead. You're good.
question that is coming up for me is, how do you help the parents and the children create safety with one
Safety,
another?
in the group.
Hmm.
Well, in the community that we have, first thing is we had the group description that we always share with new parents when they come in, just to make sure that they understand what we are expecting, uh, that they agree with that. They can come in and see how the space is. If they like it, they can continue to participate. If they don't like it, that's totally fine, because they can always back away. And in our group, we don't have a lot of set activities. The kids free play most of the time. They make up their own games and own rules. And we just make sure that everyone is respectful, that when there are problems, they can try to address that right away. Last year, when there were a few bullying cases, not exactly bullying, but there were some incidents at the playground that somebody was not being nice to another kid, and we hosted two workshops trying to encourage them to think about how they should be kind to each other. They thought about some of the things they can do or say when they see new people, and or when they see an injustice happening in front of them. And we also provided them with tips to say no and to say stop when they want to, because I think setting boundaries is important, and seeking consent is important, starting from the playground, and then it can extend to other things as you grow up. So we try to create a space like that.
That's so good. And that makes me want to ask you one more thing.
Sure.
How do you support the parents and also the children with conflict resolution and also with creating healthy boundaries?
I don't really know, but I guess through a lot of discussions and conversations with parents, we don't actively teach the kids that, but I think through their interactions as they play, they kind of get it that way. They kind of understand. And when things happen, then they come to us, and then we can guide them. And because we try to we try to remind our parents that let the kids handle it mostly, but if there's something serious, we still have to address it, and each parent do their own thing at home. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
that's
really
good.
teach that, but they learn through doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any more questions. I think this was really informative. I appreciate you for taking the time to interview with us and just give us more insight to homeschooling, the benefits, the misconceptions that people may have about it, and truly how we can help empower our children so much more. I don't know if you have anything, Giancarlo, before we go.
How often do you guys meet? Number one. Number two, can we meet with you and Danny and just start checking it out?
Yes, of course. Our group meets every Friday, mostly in Ontario and Eastvale in California. So you're welcome to Giancarlo. You can message me in private, and I can send you the information. And yes, we can definitely meet up with Danny. Yeah, I think
Beautiful.
she's very happy to meet you guys too.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Thank you.
you guys can think about interviewing her too, because she does a lot of healing work
Mm-hmm.
on
Love
her
Mm-hmm.
own.
to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to. I love just the community that's been created from this podcast, because that's how it's been. Like, this person is next. I'm like, oh yes, send them our way. Because the more we can tell people's story, the more we can help inspire. So yeah, I'd love to.
right. Yeah, definitely talk to her.
Yeah, I feel that's gonna be a good one. That we'll be probably even crying here.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what's your information again to share with the audience? Where can they reach you? Your website? One more thing that I want to say before you share that is that I feel that your voice is so needed. I feel that you did such an amazing job, and I feel that there's so many people that need to hear your voice. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to the Devon Taylor podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me too, and just giving me a space to share a little bit about my experience. Yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
like I said when Giancarlo first approached me, I said, "Are you sure you have messaged the right person? I don't own a business. I don't own a coaching thing.
Yeah.
Service. I'm just a typical homeschooling mom. Are you sure you're inviting the right
That's a
person?"
Wonder Woman job. So, thank you.
And like I said earlier, a full-time job, being a parent, and on top of that, homeschooling and taking all of the educational responsibilities. You are Superwoman. So thank you for
You're
even,
welcome.
taking the time.
And I look forward to learning about your journey too with the 4 kids.
Thank you. Yeah, we're unfolding it. What's it called? We have a book coming out soon that's
Oh,
going to
really?
kind of detail our experience as first-time parents together. So yeah, I guess that'll give way more insight, and
Yeah.
hopefully that'll be coming out sooner than later. I think we're having some issues with the other authors, but it's all getting worked out. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But you were saying, Giancarlo, you wanted her to, if you can, give your information. Like, where can everyone find you? Your website, any of that information.
Yes. I will, after this podcast, I will send him the information.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you again, Hydie. We appreciate you for being here. I'm super grateful. I don't have words, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Devon. Thank you, Giancarlo.
Today's episode comes to you thanks to our sponsor, Kangen Water. Electrolytes reduced water is the power of true hydration, manifested in the most advanced Japanese technology that has been in the market for more than 50 years. To drink the best water, shower with a hot spring quality water, and start a new business with the most amazing and profitable compensation plan in the world, visit thelivingwatercouple.com to learn more or get started today.